Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the City Council Urban Affairs Committee meeting to order. It is 8:15. We have one item on our agenda. It's order number 23-100-8824, application for a special permit from Cornerstone Engineering on behalf of Trombetta Family Limited Partnership to permit an existing contractor landscape contractor yard to be located in the LI District at 655 Farm Road. I believe we have Mr. Trombetta here, and we have a new face. If you would like to introduce yourself, I know.
Yes, Attorney William Bruin from Marlborough.
Thank you. And you have been here in the past, so you have been the one kind enough to create all of these documents for us. I'm going to take a few minutes and read the manager's comments that we all received. I might save a couple of them till we actually go through the decision. From John Garside from the Health Department, he has no comments or concerns. The police chief, Dave Georgie, says that they do not have any issues with this application. Kevin Breen, the fire chief, had said thank you for the opportunity to weigh in on this special permit request. We had a lot of questions at our site plan meetings about this site and changes under consideration at this location. The applicant and his representatives were obliging and answered all of our concerns related to traffic flow, access to and from the site, and material storage. Additionally, we are satisfied the applicant understands the importance of controlling and or mitigating risk with respect to what materials are stored and are transported to and from the site. For these reasons, we support this special permit request. And then we have a rather lengthy email response from Priscilla Ryder from Conservation and from City Engineer Tom DePercio, and I think what I would like to do is incorporate those comments as we go through. I believe you have all of that, Attorney Bruin. All right, so we did receive the decision on the special permit. I believe everybody should have a copy of that. The finding of facts are pretty straightforward. The applicants, all the information about the site, the fact that we had a public hearing, 8 members spoke in favor, no members of the public spoke in opposition. And then we get to page 3, where the City Council, pursuant to its authority under Mass General Law, Chapter 40A and the zoning ordinance, hereby grants the applicant a special permit for a contractor's yard at 655 Farm Road as shown on the plans filed. And everybody got copies of the plans, both one of the current site and then one with proposed site plan. So number 1 on the conditions, or is the construction in accordance with applicable laws? Site plan review, they will still have to go back to site plan review where there may be more conditions added. Modifications of the plans is pretty standard, that they can't alter these. Incorporation of submissions, so everything you have sent to us will be part of the packet. The operating hours are listed as 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. And I just want to clarify, I think at the public hearing, maybe there was mention of people maybe having to come earlier if they are a contractor with the city, right, or on a Sunday if there's snow and they're a contractor and they keep their vehicles. So is there a way to add in, or should we add in something that there may be a time when they need to leave earlier or also on Sunday?
Right.
Yeah, I think that'd be wise to add that.
Yeah,
Do
just
you have language that you want to propose? Do you want to work with the solicitor to come up with language? This has to go to him anyway to be put in proper form.
Yeah, we'll amend this language.
You can say it's something like
send it back.
atypical hours due to snow removal operations or something like that.
Okay.
So
Anybody else have issues with the operating hours?
If I can
Councilor
just
Oram?
add, I'm not for sure the type of contractor you may have, but there may be a contractor in there that needs to assist maybe even the city on a sewer break, so, and that could be on a Sunday. So I think snow is one area that could be listed, but I think an emergency contractor maybe too, just so they're not limited to starting up their truck for an emergency. Madam Chair, that's what I was
Right, I
suggesting.
just don't want to have somebody be complaining because they're operating on a Sunday when this says that they can't.
A good point.
And, or even earlier hours for people who,
Would there be any issues with the beginning time, moving that up to 6 a.m.?
anybody have issues with 6 a.m., Counselor Doucette?
Well, I think what Councilor Orm was saying is basically if there is an emergency situation, the hours are more, you know, as necessary type of thing. You know, if there's a water or sewer main break at 3 o'clock in the morning, they need to get the equipment there,
Right.
you know. So I think it's more of a general emergency, you know, how do we address emergency coverage?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll keep this, or we could split it, 6:30.
I guess you could go earlier, but I think the bigger piece that I see is that need
Okay, I wanna make
for
sure
outside of those hours, contractors may need to leave the property.
Okay, perfect.
I think it's 7 to 7 because that's a noise violation.
Right,
So that's the reason why it's 7 to 7.
Good.
But, yeah.
that shouldn't be changed, right?
Yeah. I know some of these trucks can be noisy as they start up
Yeah.
in the morning.
I understand.
All right, so number 6 is stormwater and erosion control, and if I can go to, of course, now I've lost the comments. The comments from Tom DePercio. I believe his comment was to delete number 6. It's not applicable to this special permit. I would recommend the following language instead. The applicant, its successors, and/or assigns shall be responsible for ensuring that the uses on the site do not contaminate stormwater runoff and shall ensure that the uses on the site do not cause adverse stormwater impacts to abutting properties.
We're fine with that language.
Yep.
Accepted.
Okay? Everybody else is okay with making that change? Number 7 is traffic pattern. All tenants and visitors are to enter and exit via the southern driveway shown on the site plan. Priscilla Ryder's comments on this are all tenants and visitors adding in to the contractor yard area are to enter and exit via the southern driveway shown on the site plan. So it's the simple addition of to the contractor yard area.
Right, they do that now, and I have no problem with putting signs up, on each entrance, so that they're more aware of it.
Okay. The committee is okay with adding in the change recommended by Ms. Ryder? All right, screening is number 8. In accordance with section 650-1848 of the zoning ordinance, the applicant shall install screening to screen areas of the site used for the storage of vehicles, equipment, and materials from adjacent properties as follows. So it lists the southern property line. I have a question on, it has Roman numeral 1 is number 20 and 30 Broad Meadow. Number 2 is number 50 Broad Meadow. I believe that's actually number 40. When I went on to the GIS map, parcel
So 40 would
with
be
the address, 20 is 12C, 30 is parcel 11, and parcel 16A is 40. I can't find a 50 Broad Meadow.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
And we can have the solicitor double-check that. And then it mentions 56 Broad Meadow Street with the existing fence. Anybody have issues with screening? B on that is the rear property line. Existing dense vegetation provides dense screening to Wayside Athletic Club. There is a vacant parcel of land approximately 60 feet wide between the site and the Wayside Athletic Club. Applicant shall remove all gravel surfaces and containers within the required 7-foot setback and install plantings as shown on the site plan. So Mr. DePercio is suggesting at the rear property line, additional language. He has existing dense vegetation, provides dense screening to Wayside Athletic Club. Remove all gravel surfaces and containers within the, northern property.
Oh,
Also,
it's
Roby.
the last one for Tom.
I'm sorry, Counselor Pearlman.
I was just going to say from Engineer DePercio's comments, it looks like he's asking for mulch to be used
Mulch is
where the
line.
gravel was.
Yeah,
and
sorry, I'm
then-
looking at Priscilla's, not,
Okay, you're just combining them both.
I got too many notes with too many people's names.
The last one in his comments says that.
Yes. The additional language be incorporated into condition 8B. Screening rear property line that within the 7-foot wide planting strip, mulch or some other cover as recommended by Priscilla should be placed where the gravel is to be removed to discourage future encroachment into the site, into the area. I'm sure we could change the use of Priscilla's name, but other than that, you saw that and you're okay with it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the northern property has the description of the abutting properties along there. Number 9 is the leased areas, and this is the part where I was questioning some information. It has currently leased areas, containers are provided to each leased area and are utilized to provide tenant with a space to secure and protect their daily and seasonal equipment. The containers are used to store hand tools, lawn maintenance equipment, snow equipment, and similar. Storage of unregistered vehicles is not allowed. Tenants are not allowed to perform vehicle repairs and/or maintenance within the contractor's yard. So Ms. Ryder has suggested adding a number 3, or adding language. She's specifying 17 containers and 17 leased areas. So when I go through the map that you provided us with, the
Yep.
proposed site, I can find 17 sites, but I can't see where 13 is. And I'm seeing that on number, which number? On some of these, there are multiple containers. There are not more than one, but there are 2 containers. So to me, I'm just as concerned as the number of sites as well as the number of containers.
Yeah,
Right, a couple of them had a private container.
Like
on it.
number 9 has 2 containers, it's labeled 9 and 10. Then 11 looks like 11 and 7. I do not see a number 13 anywhere on this, and I wonder if it's the leased gravel area, which does not have a number on it.
Sorry, my eyes.
It's in this batch right here, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so.
I think it's tucked in there. Yeah.
Sorry. Eyes are kind of glass.
It's very tiny.
I had them myself. I had the
And I
glasses up this
suppose we could have
afternoon.
had this
I haven't
map
had 'em
put
yet,
up
but
there,
I'm
so.
looking for
But
Can't read
it's
it.
actually right here.
See, on mine, it says number 10.
Yeah, I think that there's one past this.
Yeah, and that's what the bigger map to look at.
Yep.
So is this,
Anyway, I can grab one, just
yeah,
for a
I had the
second.
blow-up map. Yes.
My eyes are, oh, there's one.
Vito, if you want to look at mine, I've got them numbered.
Yeah, that one's much easier.
Yeah. I forgot how to count. I forgot how to count.
So
Numbered 'em.
there are
thought I saw it.
actually,
There's an updated one beyond this.
Oh, there's one beyond this?
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yep.
8,
So
9,
there's 16.
10, 11,
16,
12,
yeah.
13 spaces back there, plus the gravel area that's a leased, but I guess that, so it's more the spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I think it's more the containers.
Okay. So are there 13, or are there only, I mean, are there 17 or 16?
There's a full set of them,
So there's 10, 8, is 8, 9,
All right.
10, 11, 12. Then you can come down here and say 14.
Yeah, so there's one missing in between.
Okay.
How about if we let you look at this off
Well, 8, 9,
of
10,
this and give
okay.
us the information so we can
7, 8,
have
9,
it
10, 11,
corrected?
This one used to be split originally.
Tell us the number of leased areas and how many containers are in each? I don't,
Yeah, so we showed 16. I miscounted on one. 13's missing. So there's 16 trailers with the extra lease gravel area.
so I'm sorry, Vito, what did you say?
So I misnumbered it, I'm sorry.
So
So
there are
instead of
6
17, there's 16 areas shown.
16 areas, but there are and then there are 16 containers?
And there's 2 on one of them because it was a private container. That's what we just showed, that one guy down the end had a private.
Right, right, that one's gone.
So that actually can be moved?
That was removed, yeah.
Okay. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16 containers.
All right, so 16 containers and 16 leased areas? So we will add that in, 16 containers, 16 leased areas, and then the last sentence that's recommended is only the 16 trailers, lease areas are permitted as shown on the approved plans, which shall be clearly delineated in the field. These areas cannot be expanded without seeking approval and an amendment to this special permit.
We'd like to comment at this point.
Okay?
First, that last sentence, and this is something that we're, and I think Mr. DiPerzio indicated too, and we agree. We'd like to change that last sentence to the total lease area, meaning all 16, cannot be expanded without coming back and seeking council approval and amendment to the special permit. So the total lease area. And then in addition to that, we'd like to, before that sentence, add an additional sentence. And that would be, and this is just because it's business, and just like, in any commercial office building, the landlord changes what the spaces look like from time to time. I know they do that in my building. So we'd like to propose that applicants may, as needed, change or modify the trailer lease areas, provided that there not be more than 16 trailer lease areas. And after the word "as needed," to accommodate existing and future tenants, because this, things change, different tenants have different needs.
So what happens is if we'll say a tenant comes in and rents a space for 3 trucks and 3 trailers and wants to expand, and another fellow wants to downsize because we move that trailer over so that we can adjust their space. So that changes periodically. Or if a person that had 4 trailers moved out, then we could rent that to 2 people. So we need to have the ability to move those containers when necessary.
Other comments on Councilor Ossing?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my concern, I want a fixed number of trailers. You can move them where you want, because I recognize trailers change, but I don't want 17 becoming 50 without council approval.
Right,
So are you okay with the language of the total leased area cannot be expanded?
We're
To
willing
me,
to add to
that's-
that total lease area and number of trailers.
Yeah, because I recognize the business is gonna change and their models may need to move them around, but we're approving 17 trailers, right? So if they need to adjust them and to configure growing or shrinking of various tenants,
Yep, no
that's
problem.
fine, but I don't think, we wanna know if there's gonna be more, we'd ask you to come back and say, what do you wanna do?
That makes sense.
Okay. So if you would send that to Ms. Bully so that she has the language, because I can't write fast enough to get it in here exactly as you just read it. I've got the gist, but,
Yes, I can, yeah. We can definitely do that. I got this at 4 o'clock today, so, but I can definitely get that to you tomorrow. Yep.
all right, let's see where we are here. That was number 9. Number 10 is outdoor storage. In accordance with Section 650-1848 of the zoning ordinance, the outdoor storage of vehicles, equipment, and materials shall be located on impervious and otherwise dust-free surfaces. Materials shall be stored with sufficient protections to avoid damage to landscaped areas and to avoid interference with the proper functioning of stormwater infrastructure. Storage of propane chemicals or hazardous materials is not allowed. There were no suggestions from either Ms. Ryder or Mr. DePercio, I don't believe, unless I missed them, but there was a new open space that Ms. Ryder did suggest, and I thought putting it in after this was a good place to put it and then renumber everything else. So her new open space suggestion is: the areas of open space as shown on the plans shall be vegetated with grass with additional trees and shrubs to be added to help provide shade to these open spaces. These areas shall remain open and shall not be used for storage of any materials or equipment. During the site plan review process, the open space area, gravel area, storage areas shall all be clearly defined and delineated on the plans, with provisions that these are clearly defined by fencing or barriers or other on-the-ground methods for easier enforcement and management of the site. And you're okay with that?
We're all
No
set.
problem.
Thank you.
Everybody else is okay adding that in? Number 11 is noise and air quality. The applicant, its successors, and/or sign shall comply with the city's noise ordinance and shall comply with all state and federal requirements governing air quality and emissions. Number 12 is the lighting. The exterior lighting shall be downward facing from 3 15-foot posts shown on the site plan, with a lighting plan for the site to be reviewed and further conditioned during the site plan review process. Exterior lighting at the site shall be shut off outside of operating hours, except for lighting necessary for security and emergency access. And number 13 is our standard recording of the decision. I will go back to the comments from Mr. DePercio, where he is recommending that we add language into number 7, the traffic pattern. I guess I missed that.
Councilor Roby, I had a comment on the lighting
Yes, I'm sorry.
before we move forward. No, it's okay. You're moving us along, which is good. My question was just, I know there was mention of the exterior lighting that would be on for security purposes. Is any of the lighting motion censored, or would it all just be, I just wanted more clarity on that.
It's all motion censored.
Okay, so,
It's more security.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So if it's motion censored, if it says that they're shut off outside of operating hours, wouldn't the motion, how do you shut off something that's motion?
Motion activated.
So if nobody's supposed to be coming in or out, then
Right.
the light shouldn't come
So if someone
on.
did come in, the light comes on.
It would turn on,
for
right?
Light would come on.
10 minutes and then shuts itself off.
The next line says, except for lighting necessary for security emergency access, so I think that would cover the basis.
Yeah. I would think we would want that. All right. Sorry about that. Did anybody else have questions before I go backwards to number 7, traffic pattern? All right, he is recommending that we incorporate into condition 7 that signage shall be erected which prohibits contractor tenants from driving through the ice cream and retail parking area to use the northern access, and also signage that prohibits retail customers from entering the contractor yard areas. In addition, the traffic directional arrows shown on the site plan are incorrect, as they show travel on the left side of the driveways instead of the right side. And I'm sorry, I meant to talk to Mr. DePercio because I'm confused with those comments. Contractors are supposed to enter on the southern side, which would be the side where the existing building and the pavilion side, where the arrows are on the site plan. Is that correct? So they would go in there.
Yeah, the southern side would be the entrance to the garden center, and then go beyond that to the contractor.
For the contractors. So do they circle around the circle, or do they go in and back out, come out the same way?
Usually, it depends where they're located. So if they're located on the southern side, they would just come back out. If they're located on the northern back side, there's a roadway that they can come back around, which is...
That loop that
Yep.
circles around the gravel. So they can, it's not a one-way loop. They can come
It's
back
both,
around
yeah,
that
it's-
and then go back out on the southern side.
Exactly.
All right, so I think his suggestion of having signage, and maybe that's something site plan can clarify. To me, the signage would be at the northern end where that loop starts. No entry except contractors,
Yep, yep.
because you have people that, I know I've been there when it's busy, and that you need to go all the way down there to park to walk back to get ice cream. So,
Well, the contractors, instructed from the very beginning that they cannot go in on the retail side, the ice cream mini golf side.
okay,
So they come in on the garden center side, which is very wide, and they go back out on that same side. They're not allowed to go on the ice cream side because of the families, and it's much tighter. Because of all the cars, it's tighter. But they're instructed when they lease that they're not allowed, and they don't. If they do, they're told.
all right, so would it be okay to add then into number 7, traffic signs at both ends, on the northern end, that contractors only?
Yeah, I'd put signs.
And on the southern, both
Both
of them?
Yep.
Both ends? Contractors
Madam
only?
Chair?
I'm sorry, who, Counselor Doucette?
Yes. The southern entrance should not be contractor only, because someone's going to go to the garden area, they're going to be going there as well.
Right.
Right, not the entrance, but when they get down to that circle drive, I don't
okay.
want people that are not contractors going
Beyond a
down
particular
there.
level. Okay, thank you for clarification.
Because I know sometimes people will park back when it's busy at Christmas. It's hard to find spaces kind of year-round. All right, a question that I had a note on was, there's an existing building that's marked D. It's my understanding that it is a resident on the property. It's the building,
This one in the back right there.
Yes, yeah, that's there's an apartment in that building.
okay. Is it possible to identify what the existing A, B, C, and D are at the top of this limited industrial? And is that,
Yeah, we can actually, we can, add that. I can give you that answer now if you like, or we could just put it on the site plan.
all right, well, I guess my concern is this is limited industrial that's got residential inside of the property. So was the building built with the permit for residential?
No, it wasn't. It was
Okay.
built actually as a workshop, and recreation. And then it was expanded for one of my children back many, many years ago. And now I have, my grandson is there.
All right, so I don't want to get into issues, but I think having that as a resident may be an issue for code enforcement. I don't know. I don't want to open up a can of worms, but it was brought up that there was concern that it was housing. So that may be something we can look into. The other question that came up was the fact that there is on occasion a food truck at the property. So do we want to add in that there cannot be food trucks on the site? Or do we want, I know that whole food truck issue, it came to us, we really didn't do anything as a council. I think it's up to the mayor to determine, and maybe Councilor Austin knows more about that than I do. I don't know who has oversight over food trucks, and if it is the mayor, do we just leave it up to him to have that oversight?
Yeah, Madam, so we have a process to obtain a permit for a mobile food truck that you have to go down to the Board of Health and do that. The mayor will pick where they want to go, but, I mean, I don't know, if you're following the process, great. If not, follow the process. I mean, that, you know.
Is there a regulation for, locations of food trucks, or?
I don't know.
It's down with the Board of Health. Charlie, I don't know it off the top of my head, but there is a mobile, you apply for a permit, they've done it in the past. But, and there's one-day exceptions, and there's a whole host of, I'll see if I can find it while we're talking on the.
So if
Madam
we
Chair?
add in language that food trucks are allowed
Madam Chair?
by permit from the Board of Health, Councilor Doucette?
I think if there's an existing process within the city to manage food trucks, we shouldn't treat this any different than any other by not referring to it whatsoever.
Okay, I am fine with that too. I just want
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
to
just, don't worry.
put
Thanks.
the issue out there.
Food trucks are not allowed in our zoning ordinance. They're allowed on the streets, that's how they allow them, on like behind City Hall. They're allowed in the parks, playgrounds, they're allowed on the city property with a permit from the Board of Health and the mayor,
Okay,
but they're not allowed on private property.
okay. So we'll put a stop to that.
Okay. Are there any other additions, subtractions? Councilor Perlman?
Thank you. Just to clarify the food truck thing, since I know there's a lot of businesses that have it, so it would only be allowed if it was on the street or if it was on public property? Is that, because maybe that's something that we can get something emailed to us just to clarify afterwards too, because it doesn't make sense for businesses that don't have that type of food not to have an ability to put a food truck on the property. I would understand not putting it in the contractor yard section for sure, but I'm just wondering if there's more information that can be followed up with the council on that.
And I would suggest that Mr. Trombetta follow up with the mayor's office to find out what the rules are, unless we can, even if we can get information.
I'll check with the Board of Health and see what, we have a couple of catering trucks that we use for ice cream. And we go to places like Boston Scientific, and we go all over.
And those are part of your business, and they are part of
our
the
business.
operation of the business that's
Okay.
there, which is different than
Yeah.
you having someone come on site
Okay.
to then serve food.
Madam Chair, if I, thank you.
Counselor?
Well, I work in this area, so I can tell you a food truck does need a Board of Health permit for the purpose of the food. As it relates to where it can go, that's a zoning issue in most cases.
Yes.
In this city, it's the mayor that deals with it as well, because it's a safety issue as well. So in my days, I used to refer it to the police chief and to the building commissioner. So zoning could be addressed and safety.
Yep.
We may want to find out, as Karen noted, what the city here says, but those are usually your concerns. You get your food permit, that's related to the safety of the food, and then where it can go is usually up to one of those departments, building, mayor, police. What I would say is we could be opening up a can of worms if we have trucks, food trucks pulling into a construction site and leaving.
Right.
Usually you get a temporary one-day permit is what I believe you should be getting if you're staying permanently. If not, if you're going on the side of the street and you have a state peddler's license, you can do that as long as the police chief says it's okay in the appropriate zone. And that includes where the exemption might be with the ice cream trucks that go through the neighborhoods.
Okay.
So there's a lot of variations to it. As it relates to your property as limited industrial, I would say check with the building commissioner and the Board of Health, and if the mayor's the final decision also,
Okay.
but they should be able to help you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Anything else that needs to get brought up? We're okay with not doing anything with food trucks? He understands the issue and can deal with this upstairs. Okay. So we will need to get some specific language to make sure I know what's been changed here from your aspect, and then the rest of it I can incorporate in the minutes. This can be reported out on Monday. I don't know how much of a rush you are in. I personally would, because this has got to get referred to the solicitor, I can suspend on Monday to ask to have it referred, and then it would be back on the next agenda for final approval.
Okay.
So that we have time to make sure we've got everything in here.
Madam Chair, so my math, and I'll have the clerk check it, but we have until June 27th to make a decision, so there is time.
It's not like we're in a hurry, but
But no, we want to take care of it.
I'm sure, yeah, I think we all want to get this, because we'll have to go back to site plan too, so I'm sure
Right.
that's just the final step.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, so there would be a motion in order. Counselor
Motion
Doucette?
motion to approve as amended and to send it to the city solicitor with exception to the rule.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the decision on the special permit as amended. Is there further discussion? If not, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. We are missing a person. All right,
Motion to adjourn?
it's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? And we are adjourned at 8:53. Thank you, everybody.
Very much.